Hello and welcome to Talking Dogs on a Monday, although it's a Tuesday. Yes, indeed, we are taking a look now at the second section of opening round heats in the BoyleSports Irish Greyhound Derby from Saturday night. Unfortunately, we spoke far too long in the opening session. My thanks to Tommy and to Sarah for just going on and on and on and on. But now let's get straight into it. Heat 14 of the BoyleSports Irish Greyhound Derby. Crafty Coro, she's immensely strong, she's immensely fast. We knew that. She does 17.55, slowest of the opening round to the third bend, but she does 12.16 home. Of the winners or of the dogs that led at the third bend and went on to win, that was the fastest home, 12.16. That's no surprise. Bucco's Crystal missed the kick and actually ran okay to get involved with Cushy Concord third. Crafty Coro, Tommy, we learned nothing new about her except that she's in absolutely unbelievable form. She stepped off the corner to miss traffic, cut back in off the second bend to go up the inside of her two rivals. She looks like the penny has dropped really well and truly with this lady. She's at the peak of her powers now, I think.
Do you know what I thought immediately watching that race live? I thought there's a Derby finalist. Because of the pace she has. It's not that she's going to do it right and she's not going to be in front most nights in Derby company, but she has a phenomenal turn of pace. Obviously, we know she stays exceptionally well. I just thought that she is just the ideal type, and I would be looking to see if there's a top bitch market still open that I might back her in.
Yeah, I actually did tip her up each way in price-wise column of the Racing Post for that reason, because she does have that pace. And when the company gets hotter, it's not going to affect her because she's going to be behind anyway. And when the early pacers get in each other's way, if you were, let's say, a Bucco's Budsit or a Coulivanny Hoff or a Kildare or one of them dogs, and you don't get your own way into third bend, the last greyhound you want to see in behind you is Crafty Coro if you're battling out for third spot. You know what I mean? Sarah Crafty Coro, she's just an airplane.
She is, yeah. I didn't tip her, Ian. I went with Jolly, just based on the run that she had done previous, 29.40 something. I think she won over the trip. But the only concern I have with Crafty, right, and you're going to give out to me for saying this, and I can't imagine we've seen many Derby winners down through the years who have ran over six bends.
College Causeway ran over six bends. Westmead Hawk, did you ever hear of him? He won two derbies, ran over six bends.
Okay, but you're going back 10 years or more, right? In recent years we have. I'm just worried that she'll get tired. That's in terms of if she lasts the 6 weeks. That's my only point.
I think she's only coming right. I think they rushed her back for the Corn Cullen, and all evidence through that competition was that she improved week on week on week, and that improvement has continued. So I don't know where the improvement stops or where she just reaches a peak. I think she's just getting there now, and I think 550 yards is only a gallop for her. I really do.
Yeah, you could be right. It's just a little concern I have in the back of my mind, and it would put me off back. And what are you smiling at, Tommy?
I'm agreeing. I mean, that's perfectly fair point. I think Crafty Coro is exceptionally fast, and I think it's the type of competition that suits her. And I think that when you have a 750 yard bitch, or particularly bitches, they're so strong that this is the type of test that they actually kind of relish. Where you have really fast dogs in front of them and they have something to run at and whatever else. And I think I'm not saying like what you're saying is it may prove to be right over the course of a number of weeks, that she might, get a bit tired or whatever. But I actually think, like Ian, that she's very strong and that she's actually almost at the peak of her powers now. So look at when I'm saying I think she might be a Derby finalist, I don't think she'll win a Derby, regardless of what she can win in the five in the final. I think she can get that far. I think she can be the bitch that progress the furthest in the competition. But it's never going to be easy. You're never going to look at any heat and go, she's a certain qualifier. I'm not going to say she's a certain qualifier because she's going to be behind and she might need a little bit of luck here and there. But I just think that she has a turn of pace. She has the stamina. She has, I think, the strength, which is kind of what you're talking about, Sarah, the strength to carry her form over a number of weeks. So I think she has it. Maybe I'll be proven wrong over the course of it. But I just watched the race. It just, first thing that struck me was there's a potential Derby finalist.
Yeah. No, but Sarah, you're dead right in a sense where say it now. Because if she does run tired next week, you can't say it afterwards. People call you an after timer. It's better to say it beforehand than afterwards. Trust me, because you do after timing, they'll be calling you out. Have no fear. Social media is a cruel mistress.
I know. Who are you telling?
Heat 15, Bobsleigh Dream away and gone. This lady was not even favoured, which surprised me somewhat. You know how much a fan I am of Hoodoo Brown. but I think he's better probably in company where there's a bit more early speed around him that he gets a run at them. But on this occasion, it didn't matter because Bobsleigh Dream hit the lids, and once she went to the front, forget about it. Off the front, she does a 12-18 home, she does 17-15 to the third bend, and it all culminated in her doing 29-33. By my account, the third fastest run of the opening round, behind Good Cody and Ballymac Finn. It was a brilliant performance, Sarah. She's just a very strong running lady. She won't always get things her own way out front. She's going to need to be razor sharp at the lids, but when she gets loose, she's very, very talented.
Yeah, she's brilliant. I absolutely love her. I actually took on Hoodoo Brown and I tipped her up, and I was thrilled. Speaking to her owner afterwards, Willie Joe, sure God love him, he was camera shy, but he gave me an interview anyway, and he has her backed anti-post with BoyleSports. But I just love her. Track record in Traleen and the Tipperary Cup. She's coming to form at the right time. And I actually have to take back what I said there a few weeks ago, that I don't think the ladies are as strong this year. But when you're actually going through it now, looking back at all the heats, I have to eat my words, to be honest with you, because
no, don't eat your words now, right? There was Susie Sapphire last year, remember?
I know we don't have
and a peak form sing-along Sally. So you know what I mean. It is,
I know. I might be getting a bit carried away.
There is a very good crop. There's no question about that.
Yeah,
Tommy, sure. Bobsleigh Dream, away and gone. All you could want in the opening round. It was a relatively straightforward, is the wrong sort of phrasing, because Gaga Carla was up her inside, who can go up fast, and Rollers Road normally a flying starter. But they seem to miss it a bit, and Bobsleigh Dream took advantage. 350. You didn't think that would lead as comfortably as it did in the Derby heat, but a very impressive winner and all the same.
Yeah, look, to my mind, they're a league below last year's bitches, to be quite honest about it. That'd be the way I'd see it. But although there are some in there that are very strong, Bobsleigh Dream, did it perfectly right. And when you do that, and likes a bit of her ability gets a clear run, you're going to see something a bit special. So 29-33 is a fabulous run. Hoodoo Brown ran a Hoodoo Brown race.
Yeah, he's some gears. It's unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah.
Aeroplane, Sarah, he's just unbelievable, isn't he?
Yeah, like he had with Vincenzo, the two of them had 29-27. So they were the fastest 550 runners up until Good Cody took it away from them. So yeah, I love Hoodoo Brown. I just really fancy Bobsleigh in that heat, but I think Hoodoo Brown will have a good Derby. I'm pretty sure of it. Liam Garland's actually been. He doesn't have does he have as big a team this year as previous years?
A big-ish team, but they're a different sort of profile. They're all improvers.
Yeah, they are.
I will say one thing: his dogs are flying. Every single one of them ran very well. We get to another couple of them a little bit later on. On to Heat 16, Galloping Sydney. This fellow came in for strong support. And Tommy, you'd know more about him. He's all about early speed. He had to get to the front. The fact that he sort of stumbled slightly at boxes and took a little bump worked in his favor, because he arrived there at just the right time, gave the shoulder to Mary's Wedding and Tommy Too Many. Tommy Too Many was, for me, the unlucky dog in the race. I think he's turning very, very close to the pace. And the way he ran down the back straight and home would suggest he probably would have won if he got around. He was probably just going to go around in front of Mary's Wedding. I don't know. It was tight enough between the pair, but Galloping Sydney, as it was, made the most of that inside draw, and the money was inspired. He really does have an electric turn of early speed, Tommy. He'd no right to get up the inside.
No, professional punters wanted to be on him because of the price. I think he was around about 4-1 on Saturday. I missed this race live. So I'd seen the result before I saw the race. And I was expecting to be disappointed with Mary's Wedding, and I wasn't. Thought she ran better than I had expected she should have run, looking at the results. But Galloping Sydney, like you said, Ian, the punters were taking the 4-1 because they thought could lead go clear and maybe just hold on. And as it worked out, I thought watching it, I'm surprised he hasn't been picked up, to be quite honest about it. So ran a cracking race. 29.66 is a good run. He obviously can improve a bit further. Tommy Too Many did run a cracking race. We've been watching him for quite a while. Was he in Limerick? I think he was in Limerick.
He ran well in the early rounds of the Ledger, or in the Kirby, shall I say. And then, as someone said, I think it was Kevin Hennessy said, they must have gone off the boil because he won an A2 trial distance in Limerick. And I said, that's what they call well placed in them. It was 8-11 in the final, fair play, but I thought he ran a big race. He actually trialled very well at Shelburne Park. It says 29.99, but if you look at the rest of the trials and just the way he moved around the place, he looked really comfortable. I thought he ran well. Druppy's Gravy was third, was prominent for much of the way after slipping through on the inside to go second, and then Mary's Wedding ran well to qualify in fourth. Better to come from her. She would prefer to be on the inside. She is on the inside next night, but she's in that very hot heat we've spoken of. Sarah, Galloping Sydney, tremendous early speed. You can see why the punters wanted to be on, because he has that early dash.
Yeah, I thought he was very, very impressive considering, as you mentioned about the traps. But what was he? He won the trial stake down in Cork, I think, didn't he? So yeah, look, he just eye-catching. I really like the dog. I've been watching him for a while now. I kind of, every time Graham Holland has a runner, you're nearly expecting it to do a massive run. So I think there's more to come from him for sure. And it's always nice to see. I always like when dogs can come to Shelbourne Park after running in a different track and do that. I think it's very good, and I just think he'll come on for that performance. And yeah, that's, what more can you say?
Yeah, he was the third Druppy Sydney in a row to start the evening. Then came Buckles, Buds at a Law Hill Blake, and I was very impressed with him. 17:07. We knew he was going to be tested into the corner by Velasco. That's exactly what happened. Velasco has stunning, and I mean absolutely stunning early speed. But anything he achieves in the Derby is just literally getting ready for the Juvenile Derby, because it tests him the 550-yard trip. But for Buckles, Buds to contain him, move on again down into that third bend and drift away to win in 29:40, 17:07. I'd say Bev Lockheed, Graham Holland were dancing out of the place. This was a really, really taking display, Tommy.
This is what I said to a fellow over the weekend. This absolutely impressed me no end. We talked about this a while back, saying this is just the type of dog that Graham Holland excels with. Dog that you might say might necessarily you think is a 550-yard dog, but has a blinding early speed. And things didn't, like, he had Velasco. This is an awful tough, opening round heat to have a Velasco perfectly drawn up along the inside, show the pace up, get a little bit of a bump, be challenged all the way down the back to assert, like you said, and go on and win by 3 lengths, do 29:40, when, in my opinion, things didn't go exactly right for him.
This was as much about attitude as it was about pure pace. This was a really likable display.
But it also said that I can have a little bit of adversity and still do 29:40. So what can he do? What can he do over coming weeks when he gets into the competition? I loved it. I actually didn't have him down as a Derby winner beforehand. I certainly won't say he can't win a Derby now after that, because I just expect improvement from him.
Yeah, Sarah.
Yeah, very impressive. Like, he ran in the Champion Stakes, and he was finishing behind, like, I think 2 in a row and Sentimental Lad, and so you nearly expected him to do this run, but like, as you say, he didn't have it all his own way, and it was a very, very eye-catching performance. Race of Champions winner. He's just a dog, I think, that'll keep surprising us as the competition unfolds, depending on who he's in against, though. Like, when he's up against those top-class dogs, then that's when you find the truth. That's when you find out what they're capable of. So when everything is going his way and he's able to beat dogs at that, let's face it, he wasn't in against anything terrific. Like, was he? Okay, Velasco was a good dog, but I mean, I just think he done what was expected of him. That's all I'm trying to say. And I don't think he'll win a Derby, but it was a very likable performance, and I do have a mark down on my card, actually. But look,
yeah, he's on my short list. I'll have to tell you, he's already the Race of Champions winner, beat the likes of Good Cody and real stars down there. I tipped him up to win the Champion Stakes. The wet conditions, missed kick, just didn't happen for him. Forget about that. But in Derby conditions, track running well housed on the outside generally, has stunning early speed. He's massive down the back straight. He left 2 in a row standing in an open 550 at Shelbourne Park about a month and a half ago. That really, really caught my eye that night. He was picked up again in the closing yards to be beaten half lane. I think he is everything. I really do. I think he's a really, really big player in this year's Derby. Stories Pee Wee ran a remarkable race in second for Gavin O'Mahony and Mert Lahey. Just this fellow returning from the UK. He's been running over 6 bends over there. Absolutely relished the return to Shelbourne Park. And I know those betting without were more than happy to see Stories Pee Wee obliging. We'll move on to Heat. There, Velasco was third. Listen, just keep an eye on him. He's sensational. He's bred in the purple. Ballymac Bulger, Ballymac Arminta. Arminta remains the fastest bitch ever to run over 5.25 and I believe 550 yards at Shelbourne Park. So she was a very, very special lady, and she's producing some very talented ones. Keep an eye on him. On to Heat 18. Again, flaming money bags. There's just so much to like about this fellow. He starts, he stays, he does everything right. And the 2-leash 4 Kilkenny Syndicate, not afraid to make some noise. This is 13th career success. Just a real pro, Sarah. A dog you would be, if you're going to pick a syndicate greyhound, this is it.
Yeah, and they all came over for the picture after. There was some crack, like they were absolutely ecstatic. And 15-8 as well. I thought he was a good price. He had won the week previous or so, 29.69, I think he done. So look, he was a very good performance, and a dog, I think that he has plenty of support behind him, but he's one to keep an eye on that will just plug through a good few rounds of the Derby. I think he has a lovely turn of foot. But Ballymac Run was very good in second as well. Now I have to say, I have him marked down as an eye catcher.
That's one of your crew. That's one of the ladies.
Or she, sorry, is it a bitch? Oh, there you go. But anyway, yeah, no, very good.
One of your crew.
Huh?
One of your crew. I mean, like, she's been would you stop, Tommy? I don't mean a female.
I didn't react, Tommy. I was like, move on.
Sarah's
you're too used to him, Sarah. Too used to him.
Yeah. Too used to the abuse. Oh, before I forget, it's 8-1 for the track record to be broken. Just saying.
Yeah, it should be 108-1. Anyway, Tommy, Flaming Moneybags made every inch of the running. Just a thoroughly likeable dog. Ballymac Run did run well in second. Macho Pride actually ran well in third. He was forced to check stride off the second bend up the heels of the leader. And Hello Hammond, this was like, if you're going to pick a race for Hello Hammond, this isn't going to be it. He wants real fast dogs out in front of him that he can get at. He was clear to the escape. I think we'll see better from Hello Hammond. Again, he's in that red hot heat next week, but Flaming Moneybags is a good winner. Hello Hammond is the dog that will probably go furthest in the Derby. If he qualifies next week.
Yeah, well, actually, you've just made the point that race next week might be the type that will suit him. Because he has that ability and you get a bit of space in front of him. Ballymac Run is another one of those into that category of Liam Dowling runners that's capable of doing something huge. And Flame Moneybags just did things perfectly right. Perfectly right. It was a lovely professional performance from the dog, in form, running very well. So, yeah.
Yeah, Heat 19, Explosive Boy, Pips, Born Warrior on the line. Here, Cricket Score and Skywalker still about rocketed out. The two early speedsters, Explosive Boy and Born Warrior, a bit flat-footed, but flew into the opening corner. Explosive Boy looked for a moment like he was going to get it, but Born Warrior absolutely raced up to the outside. 17-15 to the third bend, despite his relatively tardy start. He drifts off that line last bend, as he always does. An Explosive Boy, who's looking more and more like a 5.75-yard greyhound, got there on the line to land the spoils in 29.64. You'd be very pleased if you owned either, if you're backed to either. Explosive Boy, probably not the sharp greyhound that he once was. He can still go a long way in the Derby. I just don't think it's going to happen from this year. Born Warrior, if you backed him anti-post, I'd be more than pleased. Obviously, the first 5 strides is an issue for him. You look at his sectionals, he's never really flown those first 5 strides. But when he gets racing, he has as much pace to the third bend as any dog in the Derby. Sarah, it was a cracking buckle. Born Warrior and Explosive Boy, 2 top-class greyhounds.
Yeah, that's what we all wanted to see. We wanted to see them go neck and neck. I've put up Born Warrior as my anti-post pick, but I did go for Explosive Boy in this heat. They were both. Well, like, I don't know about Explosive Boy and Trap 1. I'd like to think that he was perfectly housed, but Born Warrior was perfectly housed in the stripes. He's just given away that bit of ground when he's running wide, isn't he, really? Like, and I think if he had kept in that little bit more, he would have gotten there. But I absolutely love Born Warrior. That pace he has down the back is just absolutely sensational. I think he will go really far. And I do tend to agree with you about Explosive Boy. And it's a bit like Good Cody, really, isn't it? The fact that he was Sprinter of the Year last year, and now he's a 550 dog doing really well in a Derby. And now you have Explosive Boy, who was probably pinging the lids this time last year, but now is looking like he wants further and he's going to stay over the 575 or maybe even 600, who knows. But a brilliant race to watch. It's exactly what we wanted, and you can't take anything away from any of them. And Skywalker Scylla as well was very good in third. I think she needs a bit of running now, doesn't she? Would she off for a little while, or she had a bit of a break?
She ran the Tipperary Cup, but they pulled her out before the semis or the final. I think it might be in the semi-final. So clearly there was a little bit of a problem, but she ran okay in third. But I just don't know if it's going to happen for this year. She's December 18. Well, Tommy, if you took out his second round draw, I think you're probably more likely to back Born Warrior to win the Derby than Explosive Boy.
Yeah, and I wouldn't back Explosive Boy to win the Derby anyway. I don't fancy him whatsoever. But he is a fabulous dog, and he's actually it'll tell you how well he's been trained as well. Because the dog who is all about early pace, when they can no longer lead, what they tend to do is go back into the pack very quickly. So for that dog, tells a lot about his constitution and how happy he is and how well he's trained at home to still want to chase it as hard from off the pace.
No,
Like,
don't get me. No, don't get us wrong. Now, when you say for a dog that doesn't lead, like there's probably only about 5 or 6 dogs off a pink start that can lead him anyway. You know what I mean?
No, I don't. Well, I'd say no more. I'd say more in this Derby. I think looking at the field of the Derby, I think it's an exceptionally strong year for a Derby. But I just think for a dog to, like, even the other night was a perfect opportunity for him to kind of settle for second place or fade back into third place and have a strong stare like Skywalker still and maybe come and challenge him for second place. But for what he did from the last bend home was brilliant. Yes, I think Born Warrior is the one with a bit more potential, and obviously at this stage of his career. And if he could tighten up a few little things in the way he performs, he can be a Derby contender. I still think if you look at his form recently, Born Warrior, he's behind over 525, albeit behind Flame Moneybag Kilkenny, behind Coolvanny half over 525 in Shelburne, beat Deadly Showtime couple of times, and then was behind Explosive Boy. It's all exceptionally good form, a really good form, very close to Derby final type of form, but just needs to polish up a few things, and then he can be the real deal.
Yeah, I'll put it out there. If I was on Born Warrior anti-post, I'd be seriously concerned. His draw the next night will not suit him. He has Kildare just immediately on his inside. Okay, they won't bump, but if Kildare leads Born Warrior into the opening corner, which is very, very possible, or 2 in a row leads him as well, then all of a sudden he has Hello Hammond, Barefoot Supremo, and the likes of 2 in a row who will stay on very strongly. Kildare, who will be right there pitching alongside him. As I said, couple of big names are going out of that heat. If I was on Born Warrior, I'd be worried. I'd be hoping that he leads, because if he leads, he qualifies. If he doesn't lead, he's very, very vulnerable given the way he drifts off the last bend and probably doesn't find as much up the home straight as some of those that will be coming from behind him. Heat 20, Kilgraney Sydney was nominated by many as the bet of the round, and myself included, just back into his draw. He'd missed the kick and he forced his way up on the opening corner to land the spoils and emerged a very, very comfortable winner. He's a very talented greyhound. He's going to need to find his trapping boots, have no doubt, and he is dependent on that inside draw, but a very fine display. Tommy Buggy always gets one in the latter stages, folks. We know that, and this could be the one this year. I thought Ross Dame ran a remarkable race in second. He's knocked out of the contention at the opening corner, goes back to 5th. The pace he showed 2 to 3 was stunning. To go second again and does stay on well in second spot. But Kilgraney Sydney, a very impressive winner, Sarah. He was a popular selection with both the on-course and off-course bookmakers, I'd suggest.
Yeah, I think he's 40 to 1 from 50 to 1 now. And I think he's trap 1 again next week, doesn't he, in round 2? So yeah, look, even very, very good. I've thought a lot of this dog for a while now, and I think he had a little bit of a break, I think, from March to July or something like that. I don't know if he was injured or maybe he was just, I don't know what the story was with him, but I've been dying to see him running the Derby. He's just one of those dogs at the bigger prices that I really, really like. Look, he was very short on Saturday. He was 1 to 2, but I agree with you. A good run from Ross Dame in second. Unfortunate for Crafty Bonanza. Like, he's an extremely fast greyhound, that Crafty Bonanza. He's just not Derby standard. Let's be quite honest about it. He's not going to win a Derby, but I just thought he was a bit unlucky to go out. But yeah, I really, really like Kilgraney Sydney. Just would like to see him get really, really good at the traps. And I think we would have a dog worthy of winning a Derby if he could get that right.
Tommy Declan O'Donoghue, who's always beaten the Kilgraney Sydney's drum. He really loves him. It was a fine display by him. He'll need to trap up, improve his trapping, but he is a dog you don't want to see up your inside.
No, because he has that early pace. Needs to improve, obviously, to win a Derby. Then you could say that for most of them. It would have been gone from a bit of a deflation to elation for Declan, because I'm sure he would have been on Born Warrior in the previous heat, taking a chance. He's a huge fan of Born Warrior. Yeah. So I think Kilgraney Sydney was very good, yeah, but it wasn't a very hot heat. No,
move on to heat 21. This was a good contest. We had 3 or 4 very fast greyhounds in it. Magical Cuba on the outside is where he wants to be. His consistency will need to improve, but it was a good run from the other night. Showed everything that he has. He has good early speed. He's massive down the back, and he stays well. 2 in a row. Looked like he had his chance on the inside. Himself and Iso fantastic. Had a good buckle out front. Magical Cuba, having steered wide, was 3rd, but then flew down the back straight, take it up even before halfway. He really did just get by them so quickly, Magical Cuba, and then contained 2 in a row pretty comfortably. He's a fantastic 3rd. And Ballymacleon never really got the run of the race, but I thought ran very encouragingly. As I said, Liam Dowling's dogs are really running. If Ballymacleon finds his trapping boots, he's more than capable. Another one, Tommy, that could do 29, 30 or 40. Magical Cuba, good winner, 2 in a row. just as I said to you, just that, I've said it before here, just that few strides in the back straight, I'm just worried about.
Yeah, we could be glib about this, Ian, and say oh, Magic Cuba just outpaced him out of the second bend or whatever. But actually, it was actually one of the hotter heats in terms of a bit more depth in it, without being 4 potential Derby winners in it or whatever. They were actually very high quality greyhounds. Like 2 in a row was backed earlier in the year, was one-time Derby favourite. Held every chance. I thought fantastic, was whittled down the back, and yeah, you'd expect 2 in a row to be staying on nicely. But Magical Cuba, what he did was he seemed to mind himself a little bit. Is he minding himself, or is he just stepping away from other grounds?
Yes, just stepping away from them a little bit. Yeah, as it worked out in his favour.
Oh, it did. But what's impressive about that, when you step away like that, you're, instead of going forward momentum, you're moving sideward momentum. You're kind of slowing yourself down. But he actually accelerated out of the second bend to take it up, like you said, nicely before halfway against good dogs. I mean, you're talking about 2 in a row in front of him. Like that's a proper greyhound. So he's going by him quite comfortably. Beats at 3/4 of a length, does 29.53. He has much quicker on his clock, and I think we'll see it again. It's just that the competition heats up so much in the next few weeks. You can't afford to do silly things like give away by stepping right or missing the kick slightly. So good performance, so encouraging start, a good start to the competition for Pat Guilfoyle, obviously.
Yeah, Sarah Magical Cuba, the night he did 29.37, I marked him down as a potential Derby champion. Unfortunately, those runs they're not frequent enough, but this was an encouraging run by him.
Yeah, it was, yeah. And I actually seen the dog up close after the race. He's an absolutely gorgeous looking animal. And his dogs are, out of all the dogs I've seen, right, you have to remember I was doing 26 presentations. I've seen all the winners up close. Patrick Guilfoyle's dogs are the best turned out in every single race. They are gleaming. I've never seen anything like it. I know that's off topic, but anyway, I'm just saying. Magical Cuba was very good, yes. I am a bit concerned about 2 in a row, right? Because if you think about it, he had every chance to win. There's just something about the dog that I'm gone off him a little bit. And I don't like saying that because I don't want to offend anybody, but there is just something about him. It's like he's too easy to pick up, in my opinion. But look, Magical Cuba was excellent. 29.53. I think he can do better, way better than that. And he's just one to take out the whole night, I think, for me. And he's 25-1 from 40 as well. So there is a bit of support coming from him. Damo's not taking any chances either. So
we'll have words with Damo. Don't worry about that. 5, Ezo Fantastic was third from Michael Corr, who of course was Derby runner-up with Mina Miracle behind Ewan Taylor a couple of years ago. Ezo Fantastic is a very versatile tracker. He's run 750 at Shelburne, 600, 575, 550. He'd run very well in 525s recently. He's a dog that loves the cut and thrust of racing. He loves a bit of competition, this dog. It was no surprise to see him. It was no surprise. Don't start, Sarah. It was no surprise to see him up there battling away up front. He's the talented greyhound. I don't know how far he'll go, but he ran well. And again, the Ballymac Leon, don't take the 4th place finish out of it. This is a dog that can beat the very best in training on his night when he hits the lids, and I still think we've to see the best of him. He 22 at Lacazette, great story. Noel Neenan. Sarah, I'm sure you want to say something about Lacazette. There's no Derby champions probably in this race. Tupi's Class just isn't happening for her early. Callaway Masters is in great form, and won Ballymac Bronze, a really nice young greyhound. For that man, Liam Dowling could certainly do a 29, 30 or 40 in the future. We've said that about a lot of his dogs, but at Lacazette, a great story, contesting his 3rd Derby, had recovered from a near career-ending injury last year, really nursed back to fine fettle by Noel Neenan, has been running very well at Shelburne Park. It was just great to see him winning for Noel. Sarah, I'm sure this was one of the feel-good stories of the opening round.
It was. Noel was absolutely ecstatic, and I tipped the dog, which was even better. I really fancied him, not because of sentimental reasons. I actually thought he had a great chance, and he loves with his trap draw. He loves wearing the stripes. And I met his son afterwards as well. He was absolutely thrilled. Like the fact that it was 2 years ago, and I interviewed Noel Neenan, and it was his first ever runner in Shelburne Park. Never mind a Derby runner, and here he is now, still with the same dog. He's got a huge heart, a huge engine, huge ability. Okay, he's not as fast as he used to be. But the fact that he just was able to produce that on Saturday night was really good. At 29.80, okay, it wasn't the fastest heat winner or anything like that, but a lovely story to go with it. And I just was delighted for him. He was thrilled coming off the track. He was beaming from ear to ear. But Callaway Masters was good in 2nd as well. But yeah, look, it wasn't a very good heat, and we won't see the Derby winner from it by any means. But well done to Noneen, and I hope he gets to the final. Wouldn't it be great?
Absolutely. I'm normally the one that puts those statements out there and is generally caught. So I'm glad to see someone else has put a statement out like that. Tommy, and not an awful lot to add, but a good feels good story.
Great story and great result. The not so for the pro punters who were on Callaway Masters at 4-1. Probably very unlucky in running. Ballymac Bronze is extremely young. I thought there were signs of greenness coming out of the second bend where he was challenging and could have gone up along the inside and kind of hesitated a little bit when it got tight. Now, when it got tight, there was an excuse. But I liked the way he's a good surely out of Ballymac Breeze. I liked the way he stuck at it up the straight. I thought there's loads of potential in him to maybe do 29, 40 or 50. But
I didn't even realize he's only a February 21. Like he's just
February
baby,
21.
Baby.
Yeah. Like it's probably next year before we see him do his 29, 30s, which he will probably do.
Yeah, Heat 23, and this went to Sentimental Lad. This was a great tussle himself and Vincenzo into the opening corner. Druby's next one ran a remarkable race back in third. Ballymac Fairwin was fourth. Didn't happen for him. He faded away, but I think Sentimental Lad was very impressive. 17-20 off a 3:44, 29:48. He's coming home in 12:28. No surprise considering he's a 575-yard record holder. I thought Vincenzo lost nothing in defeat, Tommy. I think if you were on him, you were encouraged nearly by the run. It's very hard to see in the video because I saw it live, obviously, doing the commentary, and he definitely went down. He definitely went down at the opening corner, lost his legs for just the briefest of moments, and all of a sudden Sentimental Lad was gone. But then for him to be back on the heels of Sentimental Lad at the third bend is testament to how fast Vincenzo is. And I think his anti-post backers, who you may be one, more than encouraged by Vincenzo.
Far too much money on him, but anyway, I was disappointed. Then I was encouraged, and then I was kind of he went very, very wide off the last bend, which is wider. And he normally will swing a little bit middle, but
is it just because the dog was just right in front of him, and he just I'll go around him?
Well, that's what I'm telling myself anyway. But yeah, you're right. He like Vincenzo broke well, and I thought he'd hold Sentimental Lad into the bend, or he get. But then he kind of seemed to step a little bit right at the bend and maybe stumble, as you said. Something happened anyway, and he lost that length. Now, Sentimental Lad is a superb galloper. We've talked about him numerous times on this podcast. He just gallops at this ridiculous rate that if you're not in front of him, you're staying behind him. That's all there is to it. I heard you saying commentary that Druby next one, led into the escape. I think actually Vincenzo might have led into the escape if he hadn't actually run up the back of Sentimental Lad at the bend after the finishing line. So I think Vincenzo, if you look at his sections from the champion puppy, they're exceptionally good. His finishing sections from the third bend home are really, really right up there. I mean, I think he has everything, Vincenzo. Maybe if you were to say he lacks a half length or length somewhere, it's probably going into the bend or up to the first bend. That's the only place he lacks. He's brilliant down to the third bend. The sections stack up with anything, and they stack up home. So if he can, I was a tiny bit disappointed, maybe because I have a good few quid on him, but tiny bit disappointed. But he hadn't run in a while, and I think he'll step forward considerably. Druby's next one is exceptionally good. We talked about her in the past as well, the way she stays and what she can do from off the pace. Her problem, obviously, is going to be staying with them in the early stages of anything. But
she's worth the glance in the bitch market.
Yeah, she is, because she is. But I think the likes of Katika Cora will probably be in front of her earlier, maybe, or because of draws as well, maybe potentially in front of her. But Sentimental Lad is just the type of dog. If you want to beat him, you better get in front of him quickly.
Yeah, there's no question about it. Sarah, it was just a high class affair. This one, you consider the first four home, like. Ballymac Fairwin didn't win a classic, but he was, in an English Derby, and he was in a Laurels final. Druby's next one is an Oaks finalist. Vincenzo's won the Champion 550, and then of course Sentimental Lad, Champion Stakes finalist, went off favourite in Champion Stakes, 575-yard record holder. This was a red hot heat, and it was won in fine style by a proper greyhound.
He was epic, wasn't he? I have to, when I seen it live, I have to say I agree with Tommy. I was a little bit disappointed with Vincenzo, but I think the only dog that you're as capable of beating him is Sentimental Lad, if that makes sense. So in hindsight, you couldn't really be disappointed, and he probably needed the run as well. But I would have liked to have seen him drive the bend a little bit better. Like Sentimental Lad was like, "You're not getting by me, pal. I'm going."
Yeah, he did. No, but he did try to drive it, Sarah. But it's hard to see in the video.
Yeah,
just when you're watching it live and you see the instinct, he definitely went down on his hinds.
Yes. I know. There is something that,
and it's hard to carry that momentum when obviously you've lost the stride,
Yeah, but I I wonder if that hadn't happened and the two of them were neck and neck down the back, that's what we really, do you know what I mean? Like, I just don't know if that had happened at the first bend, would he have gotten a better chance of getting at him? Like 2.5 lengths in the finish, but he needed that run. So he will come on from it 100%, but Sentimental Lad, and I have to say, like, he's not a dog that I would have thought about even for the Derby up until he probably broke the 5.75 track record. And then it was like, okay, we really have a big contender here. And like the Michael Heaney you were talking to afterwards, and they have the baseball caps with Sentimental Lad on them. And it's just, they're just absolutely delighted. They adore the dog, and why wouldn't they? It was just a brilliant performance. Sentimental Lad is just a terrific dog. Vincenzo is what now? What's he in the betting? I have it here in front of me. 14s. Yeah. Well, he's 14s from 16s then, because he was 16s on Saturday night. So I'm not sure what price Sentimental Lad is 20s. I don't know what price he was beforehand, but I would be back in Sentimental Lad now.
Okay, Ian, if they were neck and neck down at the halfway, neck and neck.
If they're neck and neck at the second bend, Vincenzo wins.
Yeah.
Yeah, opinion, he showed the more pace down the back straight, and he doesn't swing as wide off the last bend. Like, I think certainly a length of that 2.5 lengths comes at the last bend when he swings off as wide as he does. But that, like, they're both two greyhounds capable of doing a 29.15 at Shelburne Park. Like, it'd be no surprise to you if either rocked up in the Derby final at 1 by 5 lengths. You know what I mean? So
we're just being picky and fussy, but we're
being pedants. But the fact of the matter is, like, there's ifs and buts. Like, if they're both level at the second bend, they run different races, they run different lines. You don't know, what's going to happen. But listen, they're two fast greyhounds. That's all I know. On so to Heat 24, We Can Dream, another one for Pat Guilfoyle, the Juvenile Classic winner. Whatever he did on Saturday night, he's going to improve for it. There's no question about it. Fulfilling a dream for Lars and Anita Wikander. I know, absolutely chuffed to have a Derby runner, let alone a Derby Heat winner. But this is a Juvenile Classic winner. You look at the dogs he's beaten and taken on around Tralee. He's clearly a very special greyhound, and he will improve considerably for Tommy, you would imagine. Anna Bailey and Kilgrenny Clan running well in second and third, but We Can Dream is the one to take out of the race.
Yeah, I think the professional punters or semi-pro punters I was talking to last week wanted to be on 5 Anna Bailey, and I suspected that was because of the draw, thinking that We Can Dream can kind of move in a bit and whatever else, but just We Can Dream had that bit of class. Clearly the kennels runners were in superb form, and that little bit of class told, because he had the early pace to kind of, it was more, even though the inclination to go in was still there, it wasn't a kind of I'm going in regardless. It was kind of a little bit of a bump here, let's straighten up and get to the front first. So it was a clever bit of tracking, and as you said, like, it's still 29.62, but you think it's going to improve quite a bit from that.
Yeah. Sarah, just a really nice dog, We Can Dream. Of all the first round winners, his ceiling is probably that little bit higher in terms of, you can certainly take 4 lengths off it.
Oh yeah, for sure. We can be very excited about this dog because he's just going to come on leaps and bounds. He's very lightly raced. I'd say he's been wrapped up in cotton wool now for this Derby. I actually asked Patrick Guilfoyle, I was like, have you got a favourite? Come on, tell me. And he's like, no, I don't. But I was like, all right, I think this might be one of them. I think this dog has huge potential. And I tell you,
if I was Pat, the last person I'd tell is you, because you'd be telling the world. He has his owners to deal with, not just one or two.
You're allowed to have a favourite at home. Like, there's nothing wrong with that.
Is that what your parents say to you, is it?
It doesn't mean he's getting an extra bit of meat in his dinner or anything. Like, no. But anyway, you always take the piss out of me. Do you know what? Let's move on. And I have nothing else to say.
I have no problem saying my sister's definitely my parents' favourite. Moving on. Balnabula Ed. You may have heard of him. This was a stunning run. Sing Along Sally pinged the lids from trap 1, and Balnabula Ed was absolutely amazing to land the spoils as comfortably as he did. Drewby's Edison very encouraging in third, but it was Balnabula Ed, and it really was the Balnabula Ed show. He was the one dog that people wanted to talk about after racing on Saturday night, and with reason. Tommy, he's going to have to be obviously sharper at boxes, but it was his first run in Shelburne Park. He was back from the UK traps, the UK mechanisms, and while he can leave ground at traps most nights, he never leaves that much. The pace and the bend running ability, the way he ran those opening 2 bends was simply incredible.
There have to be 2 ways we have to look at it. One, it was either sign of things to come, and he might be in trouble in better company if he misses it like that, or else it's just phenomenal ability. We knew he had the ability. That we've seen that numerous times. We've seen it everywhere he's been. He has that ability. So yes, and it's funny when he's in full flight, he can really run that first bend exceptionally well. He can cut in a bit, he can do things slightly wrong, but he can run it at such a pace and ability that yes, he looks like a Derby winner on that. But he looked like an English Derby winner. He looked like a Kirby Memorial winner. He looked, you know what I mean? He's you have to be careful in a sense, like you cannot grab the overall ability he has. He's probably as fast as any greyhound in the Derby. But you're also saying he's 12 to 1 or 10 or 12 to 1 there. He's not 25 to 1. So you're kind of, you know, he's priced according to his entire ability. Next week will tell a lot. Just in terms of not in, well, it doesn't matter what he's up against, but it just tell a lot in how he runs himself. If he does that again, you're going to get concerned. If he polishes up, you're thinking he's probably 4 to 1 with 4 rounds to go in the Derby. That's the way I see him. I mean, he's phenomenally fast. And to beat Sing Along Sally, who, like, I think you emphasised when you're talking about Sing Along Sally earlier on, you emphasised a peak Sing Along Sally, suggesting that she's probably not at her peak now.
She's not far behind it. She's not far behind.
No. But I'm not trying to run down what you said. I think the point you're making was right, but it's not. You know, her the other day wasn't her Derby runner-up effort. But it was a pretty good one, and in most heats it would have been enough to win. So it was a savage performance, and the fact that like this had depth. Drewbys Edison's a seriously fast dog as well, who may lack that tiny little bit of early pace and edged in a little bit, but showed terrific pace in defeat. So to leave him behind 4 lengths after giving him maybe a length and a half at traps is still serious. Everything about the performance is really, really good in terms of ability, but a little bit concerning in terms of how it was done.
Yeah, the 368, like the 368. I can't believe I'm saying that about the Derby favourite. 368.
Yeah.
He did a 349 in this trial the previous Saturday morning. So, you know, I'm hoping that 368 is a thing of the past. You know, I know we've seen him been a little bit flat-footed at boxes before, but this was absolutely just walking out stuff. And in contrast, Sing Along Sally pinged out, and yet she's only doing a 346. Look to the eye much quicker. That would suggest that 8-10 spots we've spoken about, Tommy. Sarah Balnabula Ed is now the anti-post favourite with BoyleSports, and with reason. He was the popular choice for quite some time following his runs in the early rounds of the English Derby. He's an absolute airplane, no question about it.
Oh, he is, of course. There's absolutely no doubt in that. We've seen that because, as Tommy said, if it was any other heat, that would have been enough for Sing Along Sally to win. It's just he just has a massive engine, and everyone was very, very excited about him. Look, I think he was cut into 8 to 1 in the outright, but he's now back out to 10. But he is the standalone favourite because we've had joint favourites for the last good while now in this Derby. But the fact that Balnabula Ed took over from 2 in a row as the outright favourite back when he was running doing those huge runs in the English Greyhound Derby. So look, he's a massive loser for us in the book, but I wouldn't be backing him at 8s or 10s. I just think there's value elsewhere. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with the dog. He's a huge ability. He's just a little bit too short for me, and that's because we're just laying him so much. He's just very, very popular. But he just has to do a bit more for me. I'd like to see him doing that against, you know, the likes of your Hoffas and your Explosive Boys and your Vincenzos, do you know, that kind of way. So I'm not taking anything away from the dog. I just think he needs to blow me away. Sorry, no, you're going to take the piss out of me again.
No, I'm not. Go on.
He's
doing all he can, Sarah, to keep quiet. He's doing everything in his power to not say anything. I know.
I'm like, I have to be careful what I say now.
What did I do? I said nothing.
Oh, no, for me. It's violent. Yeah, look, I just think he's a very good dog, but look, Sally as well. I don't know what price she is. If you got her there in front of you, she was 50s. I doubt she's that much shorter, but I think she's going to get better as the competition unfolds. She's a competition bitch. She's 40
to 1. 40 to 1.
Well, it's 40s from 50s then. So look, she's a very, very, very good bitch. We all know that. She was runner-up in it last year. She's way better than 29.69. We know that. So I just think there's more to come from her. Don't give up on her yet, and there's more to come from Ed as well, obviously, because he hasn't got a whole lot of running. So yeah, but my point is, I just think he's too short in the outright. For me, I'll be looking elsewhere.
Some point.
Do you think, Sarah, you're making a good point in the sense that like a bit like myself, you want to see him do it, but the kind of the issue I have with him is that I think next week, okay, he's got Tulligraven in 1, right? Kingdom Bound, Disco Pants, Ballinbola Ez in 4, Kilcolgan Zeus in 5, Gore Kelly Nestor in 6, right? I don't think it's a particularly deep heat. So what I could see him popping out and doing 29.10 or 29.05 or something ridiculous and being 4-1 with 4 rounds to go. Do you know what I mean? He could be. So like if you're expecting to do that, go back him now at 12s. And then just be sitting on it while he's a 4-1 favourite in a week's time, because I think something like that will happen, because we know he has that ability, but he has coddled us a little bit in the past, and that's the only sort of caution. If you ask me, to be quite honest about it, should you back him now at 12-1? I would probably say yes. Right? You should probably, if you haven't backed him, just get him to save your stakes and other dogs. Get him each way, because it's still going 6 places. Get him because talent-wise he's a Derby finalist. Talent-wise he's probably a Derby winner.
Off a level start with any other greyhound in the Derby you're backing.
That's exactly. But now, like I think next week won't be the acid test, and hence the reason I think he'll be very short after next weekend, because I'm expecting something like he hadn't run in quite a good while. We have to remember that too. He hadn't had a run. He hadn't been around Shelbourne Park before. He will have learned a huge amount. So look at he has to be Derby favourite. I think he has to be. I think there's no question about that. On pure talent and ability, he has to be, and that just showed yet again all the ability he has. But there is, when you back him at 12, you know that you're backing a dog that's probably a 4-1 chance. But there is an associated risk because of the fact that he can do this now and then. He can do this. So I think get 12-1 in the book and worry about next week's and the weeks after that.
Yeah.
If he gets his trapping boots, if he traps better, you could say the track record could be under pressure, because he obviously has.
Take the 8-1, Sarah, is it?
8-1. That's what Dame will put up. Yeah, 8-1.
Always pressing. We're moving on to Heat 26. Just mentioned there, Druby's Edison. He's still only 25-1. I thought it was an encouraging run from him. Oakfront Cadet was on his shoulder actually into the third bend. And for Druby's Edison to contain Oakfront Cadet to the line is very, very encouraging. We know how fast he is. He is coming back after a layoff. He himself did a 3.64. It is worth noting that he couldn't hold Ballinabuled into the corner, so just keep that in mind. But no question.
To be fair, Ian, he was edging in on top of a greyhound at the time, so he was being slowed down. So he might have held him if there were only 2 dogs in the race and they both broke the same way. I think he would have held him, in the sense that I think he was just being slowed down a little bit. But at the same time, Ballinabuled was definitely showing more into the pace. I can't see how he's a 25-1 chance. I think that's very short. And the reason being, there's too much, like, ability-wise, he's capable of being a Derby finalist in that category. But I don't see him as being a Derby winner. I think 25-1 is quite short, to be honest.
Yeah, it is quite short. Move on to the final heat of the round, Heat 26. And here, Callaway Pro-Am, he's just a really nice, strong runner. He's very similar to his sire in a sense where he just does it all. He's good into the corner. He motors down the back. He stays on well. Good winner, Callaway Pro-Am for Dennis Murphy, who has 2 dogs remaining in the competition himself in Callaway Masters. The second was Clona Blue, who tried his best to close the gap around the bottom 2 bends. Bacchus Leah, a little bit unlucky. She couldn't quite get around the corner. She just lacks that yard early. She'll be better suited by an inside draw, have no doubt about it. And the winning time is 29.64. A good way to finish off proceedings. Tommy, Callaway Pro-Am, just a really nice young dog, September 20. If he goes out, or when he goes out, he'll be, you'd imagine, rerouted to the Juvenile Derby.
Yeah, but he's entitled to improve considerably. That was only his second run in open company in 550. That's a really encouraging run. I don't know where, with the depth of quality in the Derby, you're not going to be afforded too many weeks to kind of get up to speed to graduate to that. He's a dog that can graduate very close to Derby class. You know what I mean? I think he can, or to late stage Derby kind of class. I think he's not a million miles off it already.
Yeah,
I was quite taken by this. I didn't know much about him.
He had caught my eye. Well, he'd run very well, obviously, around Thurles, and I think he may have ran in Kilkenny as well. And then around Clonmel, he had a couple of fine displays. I think he was sold after that. He was known as Bogger Bible at one point. He ran very well behind Fernandez last night. Showed great speed down the back straight. Just does everything right. 29.64. He's a really nice dog. Don't get me wrong, and he's certainly open to plenty of improvement. But I think he's shown enough to suggest that he's not going to find lengths and lengths. I think he's just going to be a really good, like, he'll do a 29.40. Whether that's going to be good enough, and you give him the wrong draw, I don't know. He's in tough the next night. He has Hanover Phantom, Coulivanny Calvin, Singalong Sally, Bacchus Budset, and Sentimental Lad. Not a bad little contest. But for what he did the other night, brilliant display. 17-23, 29.64. Sarah, Callaway Pro-Am. What sort of prices he's? Sorry, I have it open in front of me. 66-1. He's one that could attract a few each way nibbles.
Yeah, it could, but based on the draw that you just mentioned there, that's a big ask, isn't it? But I didn't know much about this dog either coming up to that performance. Owen McKenna, he's not down on the card, but he does train that dog. And the owners, God, Dennis Murphy, lovely, but the little girl, Aveen, she's only a little tiny little thing. I put the pictures up on my Instagram. God, it was like my heart was melting, and it was just lovely to see. Or sorry, not Adrian, that was a different dog. His other kids that were there, I can't remember their names now, but it was just a great result and a good way to end the night as well. They were just ecstatic, and they were a long drive home. They were actually driving home that night.
Blarney, wow.
Blarney, yeah. So it was a
last heat of the night. Last heat of the night. That's not what you need.
I know, but it would have been a short journey, wouldn't it? It's like when we're coming home from Dundalk. The journey is miserable when your dogs run terrible, but when you have a winner, it's like you're home in 10 minutes. Do you know?
You're about half an hour from Dundalk.
I'm an hour.
I'll tell you what. Try to get to Killarney in an hour.
Do you know what? Let's just move on, because no matter what I say, you take the bleed and extract the urine from me.
Listen, behind him was Clona Blue, fast greyhound for Kevin Lost. He's big down the back straight, and Bocco's Leah. She does need the inside draw, I'd say, Sarah.
Yeah. Oh, who's changed the seeding? Is it Clona Blue?
Clona Blue is now, he's the only seeding change. He's gone from an inside to a middle.
I tipped Bocco's Leah in that heat. I thought she had more potential than is on her card. So I think we will see more from her as well, but it's kind of draw dependent, isn't it? I want to see her closer to the fence now, and I think she'll get a better run at them.
Yeah. 26 heats. We've seen the Derby winner. Sarah, what is it?
Oh, I really like Sentimental Lad, and I really like We Can Dream, and obviously Born Warrior. But I am a little bit concerned about Born Warrior, just the fact he's going so wide, and he just needs to, as Tommy said, he needs to polish up that little bit. I can't pick one in; it's too hard.
Listen, we'll give you the three. We'll give you the three. Tommy, what way do you see it?
Vincenzo, I hope.
Vincenzo.
I hope.
What price are you on anti-post, Tommy?
Oh, I'm only on at 16s. That's all.
Oh, okay.
He's still 14-1. I was impressed with Bocco's Budsit. I could see myself putting that in the book now at 20-1. I was impressed with Mustang Jet. I'd probably leave it alone for the moment, but I was impressed with that. Coulivanny Calvin, same as yourself, Ian. I think you know he's got a bit of age on. There might be Coulivanny Hoffa was impressive. If you're on him, Ian, you've got to be delighted with life. Good Cody, similar. Ballymacfin, a lot of people are on. I wouldn't back him at 25-1 now. I think that's a bit short, a bit of an overreaction. Parblake is 25s, and you definitely leave that alone for the moment. You know, to be honest about it, if I had to put one in the book that I haven't already got, I would put Bocco's Budsit after that run the other night.
Yeah, tremendous run by Bocco's Budsit. Worth pointing out a couple of things. There were 26 wide seeds ahead of the opening round. 22 of them progressed. You know, if you have a true wide seed, don't be afraid to stick a W on them, because you know we saw a lot of dogs impressing from the outside. 16 middle seeds in the second round. That's 15 plus 1, so 15 of the 22 progressed, and then one new middle seed. That's Clona Blue, and it meant that we lost a considerable amount of inside seeds to 108 prior to the opening round. By my calculations, the guts of 50 that went out. There's 58 inside seeds left. 59 progressed, but obviously one of them changed allegiance to a middle seed. So 58 insides left, 58 insides, 22 wides, and 16 middles. If you were on a seeded runner, you'd be happy enough with those stats.
Important, if you're on the middle seed, it's important that the wide seeds qualify as well, because otherwise you might as well be a wide seed, because you're going to be out in 6. And what way does it work in the sense that they were trying to keep it as much as possible, one middle, one wide in the early round. That also has a factor in.
What happens is they keep all the wides to the outside, and then they work forward. So you put the wides, and then you have the insides, and then you do the middles. So it means that with 22 wides, there was obviously 16 heats with one wide, and the first 6 heats will have 2 wides.
Second wide,
and then the middles work from the inside out or the outside out? The inside out, I believe. So the first middles go into 4, and then the rest of the middles go into 5. So you have all the remaining heats will have. Listen, I can't work it out. 2 middles and
do you start the middles in the heats with the one wide seed?
Yeah, you put the wides in first, then it goes.
Yeah, I know, but what I'm saying is when there's some races with 2 wides.
I think the first middle seed went into heat 7, shall we say?
Okay, that so you do
trap 4. So you work it out from the inside out. So trap 4s were filled first, and then trap 5s.
Of course, that has a factor in what.
Yeah,
but of course that has a factor in how many will qualify in terms of, because of the fact that there's not going to be you're not in a heat with 4 wide seeds and whatever else. And I don't know, Ian, if we have time for, because this is going to have to be split anyway into 2 between the 2 nights.
I'd imagine so.
If you want to do a very short preview of some of the heats, a run through quickly, it can be a different 10 minutes.
I think we'll leave it. I think we'll leave it to people to work it out themselves. All we know is that there are 2 or 3 very, very, very hot heats. It kicks off the opening heat. Even, Coulivan Hoff is out in trap 16. He'll be a very hot favourite, no question about it. But he has Bocco's Leah, We Can Dream, Ballymac Run, Velasco, Bijavenue to tackle. And it just continues on like that. The one heat that we have mentioned a few times tonight that we should really perhaps just mention is heat 9, the first heat on Saturday. Mary's Weddings in 1, Hello Hammond in 2, 2 in a row is in 3, Barefoot Supremo 4, Kildare in 5, and Born Warrior in 6. A hot contest. You'll have the likes of Mary's Wedding 2 in a row, Kildare and Born Warrior all bidding to try and get a pitch into the opening corner, and Hello Hammond and Barefoot Supremo perhaps stalking them with a view to picking off their rivals. Just an intriguing contest, and a great way to set up both evenings, Tommy.
Yeah. I had a quick glance at them when the heats came out first, and I was kind of going, oh yeah, they're okay. And then the more I looked at them, I was going, oh my God. I mean, there's even one heat on like the Hanover Phantom, right? Who might be a castaway in the heat that he's in. He's a track record holder in Galway. He's got Callaway Pro-Am, who was lightly raced and impressive. Coulivan Calvin, Sing Along Sally, Bocco's Bull's a sentimental lad. Like, I mean, that's a crazy heat altogether. That's worthy of being a quarterfinal, semi-final of a derby.
Good news for the backers of the likes of Vincenzo. He'll be, you'd imagine he'd be a pretty hot favourite in heat 11. Balnabula Ed, as you suggested, Tommy, would be a very hot favourite in heat 13, you would imagine.
That's fascinating, though, Ian. That is interesting, because in heat 13, if I can find it, what have you got in trap 1? Tully Graven.
It's after heat 12, Tommy.
You've got Tully Graven. You see, Sarah, it's not exclusive to you. You
get it so much softer than I do.
You want to hear the abuse and give him on the phone afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. No, but very interesting to see what Tully Graven does, because, as you said, Tully Graven has a track record from debut. Was impressive, albeit in a modest looking heat the other night. Has the measure of Kingdom Boundaries in trap 2. So you'd imagine Tully Graven will get a solo up along the inside. So it'll be interesting to see what Balnabola. This might be a nice little test of it. I think he'll come through with flying colours, and I think he will be a short price favourite after the heat. But it's still a nice little test. It's not a complete solo.
As an aside, the 2 of them are joint record holders at Tralee with 28.03 on their cards. Sarah, you are going to be absolutely up to your neck once again. You've got 16 heats. It cut in half then the following week. You only have the 8 in the 3rd round, but 16 heats, 16 stories, 16 tremendous winners, and of course some very disappointed connections walking off the track also.
Yes, that's the way it goes. That's racing. I actually have a dog in a final myself on Friday night in Dundalk, Brewer's Song.
You'll be watching it in Barking Buzz, I assume.
I don't actually have an account of Barking Buzz. But yeah, I'll be getting a live commentary, and one of the lads will record it for me up in Dundalk. But he has got a chance. But anyway, I'll be busy. I'll be flat out. I love it. You know that. Jesus, I think it takes about 20 minutes to go through my Instagram stories. I put up absolutely everything for the people at home that couldn't make it. They didn't miss a thing. So follow me on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook, whatever you have. I'll be putting up absolutely everything from the sponsor's perspective and interviews, and I even gave the restaurant a plug, and like it's brilliant to see. Even though it's the first round, we gave away a good few complimentary tickets as well to the first round, so it was a lovely crowd in Shelbourne Park, and the restaurant was pretty buzzing as well. So long may it continue. Obviously, every Saturday night in Shelbourne, I think, has been sold out recently, which is terrific to see. But you want to be getting your bookings in now for the semis
Yeah.
and finals, because it's going to be absolutely mental. But
absolutely. And to follow Sarah on Twitter, just go to @IanFortune and press follow. That's it from us.
no, that's your OnlyFans account.
Oh, here we go. Anyway,
Oh, no.
on we go. Remember, I have the microphone. I can mute you at any time. That's it from this Monday. The best of luck, folks. We look forward to enjoying the remainder of the BoyleSports Irish Greyhound Derby. Certainly, the opening round served really to whet the appetite. Some great racing to look forward to in the coming weeks. But that's it from us on this Monday evening. My thanks again to the exiled Dub, who's going now to lock himself in a dark room, and Sarah Kinsella, who's going to do some more Instagram stories, no doubt. But that's it from us on this Monday evening. Spaghetti hoops. We'll see you very shortly. We'll see you next week. Best of luck to all those with a dog remaining in the BoyleSports Irish Greyhound Derby.